Fatal Strike Productions presents the Zindarian Tomes of Power. Produced and written by Nathan Boston. Narrated by Steve Fortune. Performed by Sean Ferguson as Elland Yon. Michael Garamoni as Aaron Lehman. Connor Bell as Dalton Anthroy. John Brattin as Richard Franklin. Todd Wilson as Titus Yon. Alexandra Stefanova as Hema Yon. And Thomas Rose as Tuscan. Episode 1, Catastrophe, Part 2.
How much further?
It shouldn't be too far off. Maybe another 10 minutes or so.
I don't understand how you can see anything out here. I can barely see my own hand.
I know this area very well. Played out here as a kid for years. Stop.
What?
Shh. Two yellow, beady eyes pierced the darkness directly in front of them. Aaron finally spotted it. He placed his hand on the hilt of his sword. The eyes disappeared in a flash.
We need to go. Come on.
What did you see?
One of those things saw us.
Wait!
We're getting too spread out. Slow your pace. I don't think we can outrun them anyway. Conserve your energy and watch for an attack.
They all slowed to a walk and caught their breath. Elland pulled his dagger out and stared into the dark forest with wide eyes.
Are you sure it saw us?
Yes, it most definitely did.
Come here. I need to get something out of your pack. Just keep an eye out while I take care of this.
Titus pulled out a few torches and a flint. The bushes and shrubs around them shook as something shot through them. Aaron drew his sword.
It's too dark. I can't see any of them.
Just swing your sword at anything that sounds close enough to hit. All right, plant these torches in the ground around us.
They're close!
Titus gently pulled Hema's arm, guiding her to the middle of the group. He drew a dagger from his belt and handed it to her.
But I don't know how to...
I know, love. I know. Just in case, I might give you a chance if the worst comes.
Why aren't they attacking?
Stay calm. Here they come.
Get back! Get back!
One down. Which little bastard is next?
One of the creatures leapt on Elland's chest, biting and slashing with its claws. Out of reflex, he put his arm up and stumbled back. It bit down on his forearm as another one came in low and slashed his left hip with a sword. He fell to the ground with the first creature still atop him.
Get it off! Get it off!
Teeth snapped at Elland's face. Hot strands of drool dripping from the creature's maw and onto the curve of his neck. He shook his arm trying to throw the thing off, but it stuck to him like a feral cat. The creature with the sword came up and raised it above its head.
Elland!
An arrow slammed into the creature's head, knocking it away and spraying blood on Elland's face. The one that clung to him continued to tear at his flesh on his chest and stomach. He stabbed at its head, and the thing dodged, releasing his arm. He swung several more times, but it was too agile to get a solid hit in. It ducked under one of his swings, darted in, and bit a small chunk of flesh off his side. Elland shoved his left hand in its mouth. The thing bit down hard. He wrapped his fingers around its lower jaw, then rolled over, pinning it to the ground. He shoved his dagger in its throat and pressed down hard. It jerked from side to side for a few moments, then went still. He pried open its mouth and pulled his hand free, then stood up unsteadily. There were a few more dead creatures around him, arrows jutting from their bodies. He saw Hema huddled between Titus and Aaron as they continued to fend them off. He froze in sheer terror. He willed his muscles to move, but they refused, feeling weak. He just stood there with his hands to his side. Blood dripping from his dagger he still clutched. Another arrow shot out from the darkness, hitting a creature in the chest. After that one fell, the others scattered into the woods. Hema saw her son sitting there blood-soaked. Her terror fled from her as she sprang out from behind Titus.
Elland! Are you okay? Someone help, please!
Hema knelt down beside him, gingerly holding his bloody hand and placing a hand on his face. Aaron rushed over next to them a moment later. Titus still held his spear out as if expecting another attack.
Here, give me your dagger.
No, I'm alright. I'm fine.
You're not fine.
Elland tried to stand, but Aaron grabbed his shoulder and pushed him back down. He then snatched the dagger out of Elland's hand and cut a few strips of cloth from the bottom of Elland's trousers, then wrapped his arm, hip, and stomach. A dark figure stepped out of the brush carrying a bow.
Who goes there?
Relax, friend. It's Tustin.
Elland had always considered Tustin a good man, although a bit different. He never conformed to the way of life everyone thought he should. He was rough around the edges, choosing to live in solitude in the forest. The few times he did visit town usually ended in a fight. He had on his leathers with different animal pelts sewn into them, like decorations. He had a thick beard and wore his customary raccoon hat, which had several patches of fur missing from it.
Tustin, you saved my life.
Oh, I just helped a little bit. Those things are cowardly. You kill enough of them and they'll scatter. From what I've seen, they attack in packs and usually from behind.
You fought these things already?
Once or twice. I've caught a lot of them in traps around my house. Cannibals, too, I noticed. We should get going, though. They're off to get more of their friends, for sure.
Aaron, help me up.
After inspecting his work briefly, he nodded and helped Elland to his feet.
Tustin, we're heading to the garrison. You should come with us.
Go hunker down with Sir Prick? No thanks. I've got a cellar with some supplies. You all are welcome to join me.
Let's get going. If he wants to stay, let him. Like he said, they could come back any minute.
Don't be ridiculous, Tustin. You've seen those things. You don't know where these hellspawns came from, or how many there are. You can't just go hide in a hole and hope they'll leave. Garrison has strong stone walls and supplies inside. We need to stick together if we're going to fight and survive.
While Tustin was considering his words, Titus went over to Hemmer and softly pulled her away from Elland to give the boy some space. She was about to object, then looked around in shock as if just realizing the ordeal they went through. The fear returned to her eyes, and she clutched on to Titus.
You surely don't think they'll just go away, do you?
I suppose not. All right, fine, but if that fop doodle says one terse word to me, I'm gonna stick an arrow right in his eye.
It's settled. Let's move.
You made the right choice. You won't regret it.
Somehow I doubt that. I'm going to go ahead of the group, though. You all sound like the king's cavalry tromping through the woods.
Tustin shot into the woods, his light footsteps going silent only a few moments after he disappeared. The rest of the group gathered themselves and headed in the same direction. Everyone except for Tustin emerged from the woods. The garrison lay just across the road. It was a large stone building with double wooden doors, reinforced with iron. A 5-foot stone wall surrounded the front half of the building, which marked the training yard.
No, this can't be.
Was there a plan B by any chance?
Small fires and corpses littered the front of the garrison, soldiers and creatures alike. The iron gate of the wall was broken and leaning by one hinge. One soldier was skewered with a spear the size of a small tree that pinned him to the stone wall.
The garrison doors are shut. There might be someone in...
Tustin shot out from the forest and ran past everyone heading to the garrison.
Run! Time to run!
An arrow hit the ground right next to Titus's foot, and they all broke out in a run, right on Tustin's heels.
You can shoot arrows too?
Tustin turned and let fly an arrow.
Apparently.
Should we try and close the gate?
No, it's broken, and there's too many.
What if the doors at the garrison are locked?
Then we stand and fight.
They entered the training grounds and Hemmer tripped over a fallen soldier. Titus turned immediately and pulled her up by the arm. A spear planted in the ground right where she fell a second before. Aaron was the first to the door. It was locked.
Open the doors! Help!
Turn and line up. They're almost upon us.
My God! There's so many!
The creatures poured into the training yard through the gate and over the walls, like an ocean of death ready to claim them. Tustin continued to fire his bow, each arrow finding a mark in the horde. Elland's legs and arms felt like sodden bread, that same weakness paralyzing him again.
This is it. cataclysm.
Steel yourselves!
The doors behind them burst open. They all turned and ran inside. They fell in a heap on top of one another, trying to get through the portal as fast as they could. The soldier that shouted at them shut and barred the doors behind them. The soldier jumped back and grabbed the hilt of his sword.
Relax. Those doors can take a hell of a lot more than simple beatings. Start worrying if they figure out how to make a battering ram.
Commander Richard stood over them. He was 6'3" with blonde hair chopped short and blue eyes. He was a massive man that trained extensively. He wore his usual chainmail with a polished breastplate that reflected the firelight in the room. A few soldiers helped them to their feet. The main entryway of the garrison was a large room. It had several red tapestries draping the walls, with the kingdom's insignia outlined in black on them. 2 hands held out with a floating crystal in the middle. There were 2 hallways leading out of the room on both sides, and a set of stairs in the back. The room was filled with soldiers, probably thinking they were under attack again.
Elland, Aaron, welcome. I'm surprised but glad you're back. Who are the... you?
Tustin stood up, brushing the dirt off his trousers and setting his hat straight.
Well now, that just warms my heart you remember me so well.
Arrest that man! Throw him in the dungeon!
Tustin quickly snatched his bow, drew back an arrow, and aimed down on the soldiers. They took a step back, drawing their swords.
I'm not going to no dungeon.
Sir, do you think that's necessary with what's going on right now?
The soldiers looked to Richard, unsure if they should attack the man. Richard drew his sword.
You'll either be shackled or dead, I care not which. You are a criminal to the crown and must pay for those crimes.
The soldiers started towards Tustin, and he pulled his arrow back a bit further, ready to let fly.
Wait! We all need to calm down. Those things, creatures, demons, are murdering everyone. The whole town is dead. We don't need to help them by going along and murdering each other. We need all the help we can get. Sir, Tustin is a better shot with a bow than anyone I know.
Hold your tongue, soldier. He's going to a cell.
Yeah? Come and put me in one then.
Gladly.
Tustin, please.
Tustin looked into Elland's pleading eyes, then glanced around the room full of soldiers. He realized he could probably take a few of the stiff collars with him, but it seemed pointless to trade his life for it. Best to do what he was good at for now. Survive. Tustin released the tension on the bow and dropped it. The soldiers grabbed him by the arms and started to escort him to the dungeon.
This is starting to feel a lot like regret.
Now that unpleasantness is over with, who might you be?
Titus and Hammer Yon, sir. Former Sergeant of Arms.
Sergeant of Arms? Good. I may need your help here soon, if you're willing. We have lost many men. There's some empty officer quarters you two can use. That should provide some decent privacy. We are using our food sparingly, but there is enough to go around for now. You'll find some soup in the smoke kitchen. You two, show them to Ivory's old quarters.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Elland, you look like a bloody mess. Get cleaned up and see the medic. After that, go and arm yourself. That goes for the rest of you. Go to the armory and get whatever you're comfortable with using. Be sure to get some rest. I'm sure we have some hard times ahead of us.
Richard turned and left. The 2 guards that he gave the order to walked up to Titus.
Elland, thank you for coming for us.
Come here, you're hurt. Let me see.
Hammer walked up to Elland and looked him up and down. She gingerly inspected areas that had thick layers of dried blood.
That's not necessary, love. He'll be treated by the medic soon. We're ready. Show us the way.
Now just hold on. They can take better care of him than his mother.
I'm fine, I promise. I know a few of the medics here. They're very good. Go get some rest.
All right then. If you're sure.
I'm sure. Good night, Mother. I'll see you in the morning.
Good night.
Titus nodded to the guards, letting them know that they were ready, and gently took Hammer's arm as they walked away.
Well, we made it.
Yeah, we did. I thought we were dead more than a few times.
Although it didn't turn out too well for Tustin.
I know. I'll have to try to speak with the commander. Surely he can understand the need to let petty crimes go.
Elland! Aaron!
They turned to see Dalton pushing his way through the mass of soldiers as he made his way to them.
Well, isn't this a blessing miracle? I thought you were dead for sure. Well, you look like you did die.
It almost sounds like you lost another bet, Dalton.
I would have if the mood wasn't so dire in here. The end of the world seems to have dampened the gambling spirits of everyone.
Your faith in us is reassuring.
I truly thought everyone was dead. You two coming back will give us a lot of hope.
From what we saw out there, that may be false hope.
And then you come back and test your fate more by yelling at your commander. How much luck do you think you possessed?
I would like to note I had no part in that.
Yell? I didn't yell at him, just kind of at everyone, really.
No, my friend, you definitely yelled at him, or at least that's how he'll see it. I'm sure you'll pay for it later. That's if we don't die before we make it to Northwich.
Northwich?
Yes, the commander plans to march for it soon. He believes the capital is our only hope.
That's a long way. How many of us are left?
There's 42 of us. 47 now that you're here. Unless Richard chops off Tustin's head, then it would be 46.
He's not going to chop his head off.
I don't know. He's been seething over that punch for a long time. Care to make a bet?
Dalton grinned, and Elland rolled his eyes.
When does he plan to march?
I'm not sure. Our provisions are running low, so probably soon.
That would make sense. Better a mad dash than a slow starve. But we could stay here and send small parties out for supplies. Surely there's something left at the bay or Knave's Mill.
I believe that's above our station, Aaron.
Better go eat and get cleaned up. I'll see you two in the morning.
All right then. Well, I am truly glad to see you two well. Get some rest.
Fatal Strike Productions. Copyright 2021. Produced and written by Nathan Boston. All rights reserved. Performed by Steve Fortune, Sean Ferguson, Michael Garamoni, Connor Bell, John Brattin, Todd Wilson, Alexandra Stefanova, and Thomas Rose.